What is up, everybody? This is Anthony with the VR Game Rankings YouTube channel. It is Tuesday. It is September 25th. It is 11:02 a.m. and we are back in the mix, folks. And of course, today is the launch of Creed Rise to Glory. Creed Rise to Glory. Yes, that is the name of the game. It is available now, I believe. And of course, all of the different Creed reviews are coming out and all of that. Let me double check. I believe the price is $29.99, right? Let me double check here. I'm looking up. I guess you could save 10% off right now due to the launch window sale discount of 10%. So no, you know what? Actually, I'm looking on the Steam page right here, and it says buy Creed Rise to Glory, $29.99. So apparently, yeah, just straight up $29.99 is the price for Creed Rise to Glory. But before we go ahead and get into that, let me go ahead and throw on my intro trailer. This is quite early for me to use an intro trailer, but let's go ahead and do that. And here we go. So yes, this is VR Game Rankings. My volume is way down. That's my problem here. Okay, I knew my volume was screwed up. I was wondering what was going on there. Yeah, so this is the VR Game Rankings YouTube channel. And this, of course, is the Daily Vlog Live. It is episode 212, Tuesday, September 25th. And tomorrow, we are looking forward, obviously, to Oculus Connect 5. The last time I checked, when I was looking at some Oculus Connect 5 information, it was talking about how it starts basically at 10 a.m. Pacific time. Now, I don't know if that's kind of like a pre-show thing that is going on at 10 a.m. Pacific time, and then it actually gets going a little bit later. Not sure how that is going to work as far as that goes. But what I've decided to do is for tomorrow's episode, I'm just going to have a 2 p.m. Pacific time start time. So I will simply wait until 2 p.m. So tomorrow's show, 2 p.m. Pacific, a bit of a later episode. That's the way it's going to do. That's the way it's going to work for tomorrow. And then Thursday, I mean, I know Oculus Connect 5 is still going on Thursday, but I don't know that it's necessarily like the kind of time-sensitive information like it is on the first day. So we will probably just go ahead and start at our normal time of 11 a.m. on Thursday. Okay, so why don't we go ahead and start things off with Creed. I've been playing this now for a couple of days, and I do have my thoughts on Creed Rise to Glory. Let me go ahead and grab. This is the official launch day trailer. Let's actually check this out real quick, and then we can get into this. Let's check out the launch day trailer.
Blue corner, Adonis Hollywood Creed.
Hey, you don't look so good. You know, you want to take a day off.
Sorry, Rock. Just thinking about what it took to get here.
Good. One step at a time. One punch at a time. One round at a time. You trained for this. You're ready for this. You earned this.
Adonis Creed, son of one of the world's most Xbox kings.
It ain't how hard you hit. It's about how hard you can get hit and keep moving forward. That's how winning is done.
Alrighty, so that is the launch day trailer for Creed Rise to Glory, and it does look pretty good. I gotta tell you, so I have been playing this game for the last couple of days, and this is an exercise game, folks. I mean, well, it's not really like an exercise game per se, but I can tell you that if you play Creed Rise to Glory, you're going to start sweating. You're going to start getting a bit sweaty, and you're going to be using a lot of your arms and your arm muscles. And it's amazing. We see something like this and we think, oh yeah, this is going to be fun, you know, and you start doing it. And it's really fun, right? It's really fun. Everything's going great. It's going great. You know, you're having fun. You're having fun. But 5 minutes later, you're like, oh man, my arms are freaking tired, man. I'm getting hot. I'm getting sweaty. And that's kind of what Creed Rise to Glory is. Those of you that have played Thrill of the Fight, those of you that have played Knockout League, you kind of know what you're getting into here. Is the thing is, when you're moving, you know, the bottom line with this game is you're punching. You're punching a lot. And if you really get into the game, and you probably are really going to get into the game, you start ducking, you start doing all kinds of crazy stuff, and it definitely gets to you after a while. It absolutely gets to you after a while. It's a great exercise game. It is a great boxing game. But one of the things that we have to consider here is, do you want to get hot and sweaty? It's a consideration you have to think about. In fact, I believe, so for example, Beat Saber, Beat Saber, what am I thinking of? Yeah. Beat Saber, basically, you get kind of hot and sweaty in that a little bit, but not to the point of Creed. Creed is just a hot and sweaty kind of a thing. So you have to consider that. But at the same time, this gives you that kind of boxing ring feel, Madison Square Garden. This is done better than any boxing game that is out there. I mean, all we have Thrill of the Fight, we have Knockout League, and those are really kind of the two boxing games we have. And this game basically annihilates those games. I mean, absolutely destroys them in terms of all the graphical splendor, in terms of the sound effects, and all of that sort of thing. When you first get into Creed, like when it first starts up, the very beginning of it, you look down on the ground and you will see a ring. You're basically in a square ring. And so what it does is, when you're first starting up the game and it's first loading up, it analyzes your play space and it gives you a boxing ring right at the very beginning. And when you look at yourself, you look down at yourself, you see gloves. You see like the silhouette of a boxer that is wearing gloves. You see your shorts, you see your legs. It is a full body motion capture type of thing. So what they're doing here is they're doing inverse kinematics for your arms and your shoulders and all of that, and where your head is. They're doing inverse kinematics, but they also are giving you that full body experience, and it works pretty well. They've done a pretty damn good job of this, because you are going to inhabit the shoes of a lot of different boxers that have different looks, different heights, different tattoos, different complexions, you know, every little different thing. Some of these guys are short and skinny, some are tall, some are fat and big, some are just big, gigantic, muscular monster men. And whatever the case may be, you are going to inhabit their shoes and you're going to be in their body. And it's kind of weird when you're doing that. Shirzad Khan City says Anthony is wearing long sleeves to hide his beast mode. Yeah, no, I know a lot of people said I should have threw on the tank top for today, and someone in chat asked, you should probably wear a tank top while you're playing Creed. And it's not a bad idea, honestly, because you're moving your arms around. You're going to get a little bit more of a movement if you're wearing a tank top, and you know you're cooler. You're definitely going to want to break out your fans for this game, just like with Beat Saber. You're probably going to want to have some fans hitting you from multiple angles. And honestly, I don't really have anything much negative to say about Creed Rise to Glory, other than the fact that it is $30. It is $30, okay? And where do you put your $30? You know, that's a possibility there. And then the other thing is, do you want to get kind of hot and sweaty? Because you're probably going to get hot and sweaty. Now, one thing I have found with Creed is that you can get in there and basically just do one fight, just have one fight, and you can get out of there before you're all hot and sweaty. So you can get in there, you could get one fight and get out. So you can do that. Now, Kevgret says, I paid $23.99 for the physical copy of Creed at Best Buy. He still has the Gamers Club thing. So he got it for 24 bucks. He got a physical version so he can play it as much as he wants, and then he can also possibly ship that out to somebody else, sell it off on Craigslist, whatever, something along those lines. Let's see, Terry Blanchard says he purchased Creed on Steam, not in my download list until 12 a.m. tonight. Can't wait. Dr. Freeman says, how realistic is the fighting though? Thrill might not be polished, but it's quite realistic. I don't know if this is like the realism that like hardcore boxing fans really, really, really want, but I think the realism is very similar to Thrill of the Fight. You still have to dodge punches, you still have to connect with combinations, and it also depends on the difficulty level that you set the game to in the very beginning. When I first got into this game, I put the difficulty level on relatively low, like on an easy difficulty level, because I want to see everything in this game, and I don't need the difficulty level to be really high in the very beginning. So I put it kind of low, and I believe it's too low because I've gotten into a number of fights, and I don't know that I'm actually doing like super well in some of these fights, but I end up knocking the guy out. I get into a lot of situations in a lot of these fights where you basically have to knock the guy out 3 different times, and then it's a TKO, and then it's game over. And so that's kind of what happens here. But yeah, I don't know. Cheaper than a gym membership? It absolutely is cheaper than a gym membership. That is Sponge 720. And I can tell you this, that if you have a routine of playing a number of different VR games for exercise, and it's not a bad idea, you can easily spend 1 hour with your VR headset on, and you can bounce from this exercise game to that exercise game to that exercise. And some people might say, oh, you're not really getting real exercise. Like, that isn't real exercise. Nah, I think it is. If you're moving around, if you're moving your arms around and you're getting hot and you're getting sweaty, it's exercise. It might be very light exercise, but it's exercise nonetheless. And if you already have an exercise routine going and you have a number of different VR games you play, Creed is a perfect opportunity to add a very interesting exercise game to the mix. It has the Rocky music. It has the Rocky sound effects. That's one of the cool things about Creed that is different than something like Thrill of the Fight or Knockout League or whatever. You have that classy Rocky music, and you'll actually be in this game. You'll be in a fight, and it starts doing some of the Rocky background music, and you can't help it, man. I mean, if you're a fan of the old Rocky movies, if you grew up watching some of those old classic Rocky movies and you know all the Rocky movies, there's certain songs in Rocky, there's certain mantras in Rocky that will get your blood pumping. You'll feel it. You'll be like, yeah, like Adrian. You'll feel like, when he climbs those steps in Philadelphia, where he's jogging and he climbs all the way up to the steps and then he turns around and he goes like this. You'll actually feel that at different points in this game, and it's the music, it's the sound effects, it's the whole Creed thing. Now, where does this game stumble? What is the downside to this game? Is there a downside as far as Creed Rise to Glory? And I will tell you, I think there was an opportunity here to do something super, super cool, and they don't quite go far enough from what I've seen so far. And what I'm talking about is anybody that has played some of the NBA 2K games, or you've played some of the more recent Madden games, where they almost have this like role-playing game thing that is going on. Like you can go into a career mode and you can be like a rookie NFL player that just got drafted from some college or something. You know, you could do that in Madden now. You can do this in NBA 2K. In fact, NBA 2K is kind of what started this thing, where is you can kind of have this first-person experience, and it might show you at home in your mansion. And, you know, Rocky Balboa pulls up in his car and he's talking to you, and you're in your mansion, and your girlfriend is there, or your wife or whatever, and you have all these like groupies and stuff. I mean, they could do all kinds of stuff like that where it gives you more of the overall feeling of Creed. And this game doesn't really do that. What this game does is, if you go into the career mode, there are different training modes that you go into. There's different little training exercises that they put you through, and then as you go through all of that, you then go into a fight, and you have to do a fight, and you kind of work your way up. And so it has some of that, but it doesn't really get into, it doesn't do that first person like entertainment thing that Madden and NBA 2K does with some of their modes. And I think it was possible. I think it's something, it would have taken a lot, and it would have made this game a much longer development process, much more expensive, and they probably couldn't really justify that. And maybe there will be a Creed 2 that goes down that road, but that would be my one Debbie Downer, is that it doesn't have that kind of a mode. And I think that kind of a mode in VR, I think, would be pretty freaking entertaining. I look forward to the day when NBA 2K and when Madden, when they finally come to VR, and if they still include these types of modes where you're kind of playing out a story and it's kind of like a sports role-playing game, that would be super cool if they had that. So they don't really have that. That's really the only downside. The graphics are fantastic. The sound quality and effects are fantastic. The music is really good. Now, what you're seeing right here, see these different arenas that they're showing you? That is probably the coolest thing of this entire deal, is all the different arenas that you get to fight in. This is one of the things that I felt was kind of missing from Thrill of the Fight and some of these other more amateur games that we've had. I mean, not amateur, but more indie, right? Is you don't necessarily feel like you are in Madison Square Garden. And there's times in Creed where you're in the ring and you're fighting this guy, and then the round ends and you're looking at the crowd and you're looking at Rocky Balboa and he's looking at you and he's standing down there and you're seeing people in the crowd. Now, the thing is, if you really start to pay attention to the crowd, if you really start to look at the crowd, you'll notice that they repeat over and over and over again. There's probably like 5 or 6 different character models for people that are in the crowd, and they repeat endlessly. And so if you stop and you look at them and you pay attention, you'll see it, and it breaks the illusion a little bit. But when you're in a regular fight and you're doing a regular boxing match and you just happen to look over the crowd for a brief second of time and you look back, it feels like you're in the Madison Square Garden. It feels like you're in a real deal thing. One of the things I haven't experienced yet, and I'm not sure if Creed does feature this, is more of like walking through the tunnel. You know, the feeling of walking through the tunnel and having the song play and having people yell at you from the side. Some people, you know, almost spitting on you or throwing their popcorn at you or whatever. That would have been kind of cool if they also had that experience. I have not seen that experience yet in Creed. I'm not sure if it's not still a part of this. Maybe when you go through the story mode and you get to some of these bigger gymnasiums, because I've just kind of been in like free mode. I've been mostly doing free mode. I started doing the career mode for a little while, and then I was like, well, let me go into the free mode, because let me try being these different boxers. You know, that one guy, that big giant guy that you see in a lot of these trailers, I can tell you, when you get in a ring and you're standing next to that guy and you're looking up at him, he looks absolutely monstrous. He looks absolutely huge. And he really looks like he's occupying space. Polygonally, his character model is really well done. Sometimes you're going to be some of these different boxers and they have all these tattoos and stuff all over them, and they have these big muscular shoulders and biceps and all this stuff, and you're looking at your arms and stuff and you're like, yeah, man, I'm a big Hulk, man, and you kind of feel like it. And it's interesting. It's going to be interesting to see as we get further and further into VR and explore VR more and more, if this does something to our minds. You know, will it do something to our minds to inhabit these other bodies and feel like we're in these other bodies? I wonder if it'll trick our minds. Maybe we'll be able to get into really incredible shape, not by lifting weights and working out all the time, but by playing these games all the time and convincing our minds that we are in these big hulking bodies with 6-packs and 8-packs, and we're ripped all over, and we actually buy into that. That's kind of crazy. I mean, you know, that's probably not going to happen, but it is super cool when you're toe-to-toe with some of these guys. They're huge, and then you have your own height too. When you're fighting some of these different boxers, some of them are short. Sometimes you have the height, you have the reach. Sometimes they have the height, they have the reach. One other little irritant I did have with Creed, and this happened to me last night. I was playing this last night, and somehow my height got screwed the hell up. And I was like I was probably like 8 feet tall or like 7 feet tall. And I don't know what happened. Something got screwed up. My height got off. And I was fighting that super, super huge guy, the main guy that you see in a lot of these trailers, Dwayne. I forget what his last name is, but I was fighting this Dwayne guy. And I was taller than him. And so when you get to the point where you're supposed to touch gloves and then the fight begins, I was like towering over him. And he was looking up at me. And that did not feel right. That felt very off. So somehow my height got screwed up. So that was one little irritant. That was one little negative that I did feel. Okay, so here's the thing. Chat is moving very, very quickly here. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to go ahead and pop out chat where I can scroll back and get the rest of chat that was a little bit earlier, some stuff that I've missed, because everybody is going really fast here. Greg's VR says Creed needs a classic DLC with the classic fighters from the films. I think this has been said before, or I think I said this before. That's actually a really good idea, and that isn't too far away from reality. It wouldn't necessarily be impossible for them to have Drago and Tommy Morrison and, you know, all the different Clubber Lang and all the classic fighters from the various Rocky movies. Although there could be some licensing issues, I don't know. I mean, I know MGM Interactive or like MGM probably has the rights to all of that stuff, but I don't know how all that would work in terms of having like Clubber Lang and the original Apollo Creed, like have his dad and have all these other boxers in it. That would be pretty cool. I think that would be a great idea. That's actually a great idea, Greg's VR. And I think if this is like a major hit, that is something that could potentially happen. Chris Gould says, it is fun to see some of the PSVR YouTubers slugging it out in Creed. I have not tried any of the PvP yet. I can't imagine that. The one thing I worry about from a standpoint of doing PvP in a game like this is it just becomes like, how fast can you throw punches? How fast can you throw punches and just go psycho? Because it kind of would turn into that at a certain point, I would imagine. But you know what? I can tell you this. My arms have been feeling a little bit more tired over these last couple of days playing Creed. And so that's a bonus. That's a bonus. You might get a bit of a workout, you know, if you got some flabby arms. This could be a great game to screw around with. Absolutely. So I'm going to try to go back. Is Dolph Lundgren in the game? No, not yet. But according to Greg's VR, that should be some serious DLC that we should really get into. Burning Heart by Survivor still does it for me. That is Kev Gret. And that's speaking exactly what I'm talking about is... You've heard some of these Rocky songs, Eye of the Tiger and all of this stuff. You've heard these things for so many years and for so long. And when you're in the first person and you're fighting and you start hearing this music in the background, it does pump you up in a way that is kind of indescribable. One of the things I really want to do, honestly, is I want to put my wife into this because she is a Rocky fan. She has seen all of the Rocky movies like multiple times, and she's like really into the music and all of that. And I would love her to experience just being a boxer for a very short period of time and hearing that music come on. And you kind of get, I talk about it in a number of other experiences where you get those goosebumps. You get that electricity that goes up and down your arms where you're like, oh shit, this is a really powerful thing that I'm experiencing. And I did experience that with this game. But I want to go back and I want to say, wait a minute, this is $30. This is $30. Where does this fit in? Where does this fit in with Windlands 2? Where does this fit in with Transference? Where does this fit in with Blind and Torn and all these games that have recently came out? And what I will say is this is a really high-end, high-quality production, but it is a game that is going to make you sweat, and it's a very specific experience. You're getting in there, you're boxing, and after a while, you know, I don't know. I don't know if there's the longevity there. What I'm basically trying to say is I think from a standpoint of what is the game of September, I was wondering, would Creed be the game of September? I don't know. I still think I would probably edge towards Windlands 2 as my game of September. And I think I would probably also prefer Transference over Creed. Now that's more, it's not so much a slight on Creed as it is that I'm just kind of more into that kind of a game. If Creed did have this first person mode where you're living in Creed's mansion and you're dealing with like shady boxing promoters and you kind of have a choose your own adventure story that also goes along with it, that might have made it rise above enough, rise to glory. That might have made it rise to glory and make it the September game of the month for me. It's still an incredibly high quality game. One of the best sports games we've seen in VR up to this point in time. Graphics are fantabulous. Sound effects are really, really good. No faults, really. I mean, the only complaint I have, you guys know my complaints. My complaints is you eventually get tired, you get sweaty. You got to recognize that. Sometimes, you know, we just took a shower like a half an hour ago, and then we don't want to get hot and sweaty. You know, that's part of it. Tom Lloyd says, Creed is garbage, making you roll your gloves to move forward and backwards. No, that is an option that is in the option menu. You don't have to do that. You can do that like A and X. You can do A and X like this and walk forward. What I don't know how to do, though, I don't know how to move backwards. Like, I haven't learned how to move backwards. So I'm pretty much just moving forward. And then what I'm doing is, when the punches come at me, every once in a while, I time a punch and I just dodge. I dodge back, and then he threw his punch. Now he has an opening, and then bam, bam. And then, you know, put your arms up, block a little bit, dodge a little bit to this side or that side, and then bam, bam. But sometimes I'm in this game, I shouldn't be wearing this right now because I'm going to start to get really hot. But sometimes I'm in this game and I'm just going crazy, you know, just throwing punches. And every once in a while, has anybody done this? I know you guys have done this. If you have Creed, have you just done like that? I've done that before because you're just like, I just want to hit this guy in his head. I just don't care. I just want to hit him in his head. But sometimes it's funny because you will hit these guys pretty hard. They start falling back like this, you know, in slow-mo, and you just want to tee off on them as they're falling back. And it doesn't give you the option to do that. Another little bit of weirdness is I have seen some of these boxers have fallen down. They hit the ground, and every once in a while, like their ragdoll physics will kind of like, you know, they kind of like start vibrating and their heads start tweaking out and stuff. So there's a little bit of some weirdness here and there, but for the most part, incredibly polished. Survios. Let's talk about Survios, man. Here is a company that has made a legitimate name for themselves. Okay, people are talking about West Coast things, American things. I'm not sure. What is everybody talking about here? Is it a certain slang that I used or something? Let me see if I can go back and chat and see what people are talking about. Okay, so I'm going to try to see what folks are talking about here with all the slangs. Lethal Weasel says $30 and Astrobot and Evasion are coming very soon. Yeah, don't forget about that, man. Astrobot is next Tuesday. That's October 2nd. Twilight Path is Tuesday, October 2nd, right? Next Tuesday, a week from now. So I'm trying to see what people are talking about with this American thing. My arms hurt like all hell with Beat Saber. That is Paul Bellino. Yeah, you are going to work your arms out. If you got some flabby arm issues, this might be a good thing. It might help you out a little bit. Shirzad Khan City says, fact that you have to keep your arms elevated makes it hard because we're not used to boxing stances. Main Fan says, Rocky can make me effing cry. Absolutely. They should have had the sim where you take some raw eggs. You just have to drink some raw eggs. That should have been part of it. It might still be part of it. You should have to chase a chicken. You know, where's the part where you chase a chicken? It's funny because we have these Creed movies now with Michael B. Jordan. But you talk about DLC. How cool would it be from a DLC standpoint? Oh, they're talking about wife beaters. Is wife beaters an American thing? Yeah, I've never worn wife beaters. Like a regular normal tank top is fine, but I've never worn a wife beater in my entire life. And I am Italian, so what do you think about that? But where was I going here? Oh, we were talking about possible DLC for this game sometime down the road in the future. Think about classic Rocky Balboa, where you have your old coach, you know, the old guy, and you're running after the chicken, and you're going to meet Adrian at the fish store, the pet store, and you're walking around that neighborhood, and that would be super cool. That would be cool if they had a DLC for that. That would be pretty awesome. Yeah, so people are talking about wife beaters. Main Fan says, in his 20s, he wore wife beaters to the gym exclusively, brah. Well, see, what you guys don't know about Main Fan is a legitimate bodybuilder dude. I've actually reached out to Main Fan because I am not a bodybuilder in any way, shape, or form. And I was asking Main Fan about, you know, what are some different exercises to do? Because I've always kind of wanted to get rid of like some of the flabbiness and look a little bit better, like if I'm at a beach or something like that. And I've never really been that type of guy. And I reached out to Main Fan, and he's given me a lot of advice and tips. And he's a straight up bodybuilding bro. So there is that. But yeah, so that's what some people are talking about. Let me go back because Tom Lloyd has an interesting take right here. Let's see, where is it? Oh, damn, my chat is going crazy here. So Tom Lloyd says, then it's just as bad moving forward, but not backwards. Box VR is basic and is much better with moving. I know PSVR has limitations, but really, rolling gloves or not rolling, but no backwards. Yeah, I don't know about the movement here. The movement is kind of tricky. Ideally speaking, I guess, this would be a room scale experience. Think about it. If you have wireless and everybody in the Vive subreddit, that's all they're talking about is the Vive wireless adapter. Everybody is getting their hands on the Vive wireless adapter. And imagine playing this game if it gave you that kind of movement. Because if you think about it, a boxing ring isn't necessarily gigantic. So what if you could just, you know, you just in real life, you back up, you come forward, you move around a little, you know, you'd have to have a pretty big play area. You'd have to have a decent sized play area, and you really would need to have the wireless after a while. But that would be good. I got to figure out more of the movement thing because honestly, what I've mostly done is just move forward, and then I just get into a slug fest with the other boxer, which is probably not ideal. You can see here in the video they show like some little moments where it'll put these little green bubbles that are on the other boxer's body. And if you can connect those green bubbles like really, really fast, it like adds extra power. It's like an extra power punch when you do that. The other thing too is when you get hit really hard and you take some serious damage, what happens is your boxer goes back like this, and what you have to do to recover is you line up your hands in the exact same spots where your boxer is going back like this. So you quickly try to line your hands up into those spots, and then that helps you recover. And if you get knocked out, like if you're knocked out and on the ground and you need to wake back up, you basically hit like the A and X button and kind of walk forward as fast as you can like this, and then eventually you get up and recover. Also, there are all these other training modes. So you do have the boxing matches that take place in the ring. You have a lot of different boxing rings, which I think is one of the best features of it, is to have these different backdrops, especially that one there where it feels like you're in a memorial auditorium for whatever your city is, like a really intimate kind of arena. And then you have like the different boxing gyms that you can fight in. There's even like a back alley area where you could do a fight in a back alley. So you have the free mode, the free play mode, where you can try all these different guys and look at the tats. I mean, tats all over the damn place, and it looks good. And the character models are good. The polygonal effects are good. The 3D character modeling, all done very well. So we're kind of going a little bit overboard here on all of this. But yeah, Creed, Rise to Glory, pretty darn sweet. I'm certainly impressed with it. I just don't know. I mean, I like the game. $30 though, and we still don't know. Like I don't know. I don't know if your $30 is best spent in this direction. I mean, it depends on the type of gamer you are. It depends on how much you're into these exercise games, how much you like boxing, how much you like Rocky. But at least it is a very high quality, well done game. That's the key there. Okay, so let's see. I wanted to see, do we have some other things to get into real quick here? Let's go ahead and move away from Creed for a minute. So I do have a trailer for a game. I heard something about this game. It is called Red Lucid Nightmare. Let's go ahead and check out this trailer because I think this is a game that's going to be coming out pretty soon. Let's see what this is about. Let's check this trailer out and we can come right back. All right, so this is Red Lucid Nightmare, and we can tell that it does look pretty indie-ish. Like, this is definitely an indie game. This is being developed by Boulder Games, and supposedly this is coming out on October 1st. And the interesting thing here is it looks like it's mostly black and white, but then there is some red that is thrown in as well. So it's like black, white, and red. It looks a little bit cel-shaded. Chris Gould says, another one of these, really? Shirzad Khan City says, looks perfect for his 970. So spooky, it doesn't even have color, says Tezrim. Another horror game, I'm out, says Conrad Lawrence. Yeah, dude, these horror games just will not stop. They just won't stop coming. And one of the reasons they won't stop coming is there's so many indie devs that have probably tried a few VR games here or there, and they're like, man, horror, you could do horror so easily. And they come up with these interesting ideas for different horror games, and they just start working on them, and they don't realize that there's a million other developers doing the exact same thing. And we are absolutely being swamped with all of these different horror games. But yeah, this is Red Lucid Nightmare. I just thought, you know, this is something to keep our eyes on because this is an October 1st release, which I believe is next Monday. Here it is on Steam. You can see October 1st, 2018. Boulder Games is a developer. Red Lucid Nightmare. Not much information. It just says it's a survival horror game. You play as Mercedes as she tries to piece together a missing persons case and strange recurring nightmares. So taking a look at some of these screenshots, you can see, you know, kind of spooky. You got your flashlight action going on here. Looks like you got a lighter that you can activate. And so I don't know. I mean, I think it looks pretty decent. Not too bad. But that is Red Lucid Nightmare. This is Creed Rise to Glory, by the way. You can see $29.99. So it is going for that full $30 banger. And, you know, Rocky Balboa in the game is done pretty well, too. It's not his real voice. It's definitely somebody impersonating him, but does do a pretty good job of that. So that is Red Lucid Nightmare. One other little bit of news. Let me get this. One other little bit of news is Subject 264 has been delayed. I forget what the release date is for Subject 264, but it was announced that here's Subject 264. This is one of these trailers we saw, I think, last week, and it got delayed a little bit. This is by Virtual Guys. Virtual Guys. Yeah, I thought this trailer was pretty cool. Kind of reminds me a little bit of Oregon Quarter. Again, unlimited horror games, folks. Unlimited horror games, unlimited thrillers. It is just, it's bread and butter. It is bread and butter, buttermeat toast, because they go so damn well together. I really feel for you guys that cannot stand horror games, because god damn, this is the most no-brainer genre in VR ever, and that's why we are literally swarming with these things. They just will not stop. But yeah, this is Subject 264. It has been delayed. They did have some issues. Yeah, this is that one game where I was talking about these rooms. Like, look at these interesting rooms, but they have like big empty rooms, and it's got teleporting, and you're solving puzzles and stuff like that. Here is the here's the Steam page for it, and now it just says 2018. I think this might have been like an October game or something. But yeah, see right here they're announcing that the game is finally finished, but I guess they got some bugs and stuff, so now it's basically been delayed with no real timetable on it, so that is going to be delayed a little bit. So that is that one. Let me see, were there any other little minor trailers we wanted to get into? Oh, you know what? I do have something else I can show you guys. It's a super long video. So what I'll do is I'll probably just let the video run in the background for a long time, and while we talk about some other things. But let me see if I can find it here. Where is it? Oh man, no, I can't find it. I know I downloaded this trailer. Let me see what the name of it was. Okay. Here we go. I got it. Okay, so Duke Nukem. Did you guys hear about that? Duke Nukem 3D. There is like a mod or something like that. Red Light District. I really don't know too much about this. I just grabbed this video. But you can see he's using an Oculus Rift. Let's look in on this for just a minute.
I'm gonna get medieval on your asses. Rest in pieces.
Yeah, so as I'm watching this, it reminds me of Serious Sam. You know, it reminds me of some of the Serious Sam games. And so apparently this is called Serious Duke 3D. And it's a partial remake of Duke Nukem 3D with full VR support. It is created by Syndroid. It's essentially a mod of Serious Sam 3 using Crow Team's Serious Sam Fusion platform, which you'll need in order to play this. And there's full support for motion controllers, and this is the video that was released. This being a Serious Sam mod, you can also play the levels in co-op, although Syndroid does advise to keep it to a maximum of 4 players. Maximum. So yeah, this is kind of interesting. I don't know, like, how are they doing this from a legality standpoint? Or do you have to own, like, Duke Nukem 3D itself to be able to, like, if you already own Duke Nukem 3D, it's just like some kind of a mod? I always wonder about how this works out from a legal standpoint, but it looks like a Duke Nukem mod in the Serious Sam 3 engine. Yeah, you do need to have a Serious Sam Fusion platform in order to play this. But they're also talking about it over here. I saw this on Road to VR. Duke Nukem 3D is getting the VR treatment via a fan-made mod. And we have been blessed with some pretty good-looking mods. Like, this looks pretty good. I mean, this looks definitely like something that you would want to play. This video does look pretty nice. So let's see. Crunchy says he still has Duke 3D on floppy disk. And Crunchy says, how do you kick? I don't know. Tezram says, oh, he just walks over an ammo pack and it magically gets picked up. Why do VR games still do this? And Paradise Decay bought out all of the disk space in the UK. Airman929 is going back to the horror game discussion, and he says horror games is a great VR thing, and yet Resident Evil 7 still hasn't managed to come to PC. Maybe that's the reason, Airman. Maybe there's just too many horror games on PC VR, so that's why they don't want to do it. You can tell when that guy starts running at him that this is running on a Serious Sam engine. You can see when he's running like this super fast with his arms out like that, that is like straight up Serious Sam. But, you know, the motion controller support and all of that does look pretty sweet. So that would be nice. Tom Lloyd says, we need Call of Duty Zombies VR. Yeah, how cool would that be? That would be cool, actually. I like this. See, I like this retro style stuff. I like the rain. I like the wet pavement. And I can get behind simple graphics like this and really simplistic gameplay. So this would be kind of cool. I don't know when this thing is going to be actually available and what all you have to do with it to get it up and running. But Syndroid doesn't yet know if a remake of the first level of the game's second episode is on the cards too. It's about as close to Duke in VR as we're ever likely to get after the disastrous release of 2011's Duke Nukem Forever. Yeah, you know, the Borderland guys, right? What's the name of that studio again that makes Borderlands? They have the rights to Duke Nukem, I believe, right? Borderlands. God, what is the name of the developer that does Borderlands? Oh, Gearbox. Okay, yeah, Gearbox Software. Yeah, Gearbox Software, I believe, does have the rights to Duke Nukem. So they're probably not looking at this too friendly. But Randy Pitchford and company, yeah. Randy Pitchford was a really big fan of, like, the whole Duke series, and he ended up probably paying way too much for the rights. And he knew the guys at 3D Realms and all of that, and he got the rights to Duke Nukem. And so this is just, I guess, a fan-made mod. Crunchy says next Borderlands should be in VR. Yeah, actually, I just want the original Borderlands in VR. I think it would absolutely be perfect for VR. That would be super cool. So that is the Duke Nukem 3D mod. Okay, so what we can do here is let's go to Road to VR real quick, and let's just see what some of the news stories are around town and see what's going on there. 1 second here. So this is Road to VR, Creed, Rise to Glory review, an arcade boxer that packs a real punch. They are giving it 4 stars out of 5, and I probably couldn't argue with this. I don't have a review yet. I like to review my games when I feel like I really, really know what the game is and what is my take on the game. And so I will delay my reviews ridiculously long until I feel like I really have a handle on the game. So I do not rush to judgment with my reviews. I take my sweet time, but it's a great game. It's certainly a great game. Then they're talking about what to expect at Oculus Connect 5. Of course, the Vive wireless adapter, that is all anybody is talking about on the Vive subreddit. And we'll check out the Vive subreddit in just a second here. Sariento VR, we know about the updated graphics and smoother gameplay. Still haven't jumped into that, though. And then, of course, Star VR is probably the most banging VR headset out there right about now. So let's go to the Vive subreddit. Speaking of the Vive subreddit, it is all wireless adapter all the time. But here is an interesting story. VR related Darth Vader game or experience to be announced tomorrow. This is on Twitter. Alert all commands. Look at this, folks. ILM X Labs tomorrow. Gee, well, what is happening tomorrow? That would be big. That might go in line with the announcement of a big major game. How interesting would this be? Secrets of the Empire, you know, the Void experience. Could it possibly be? Oh, and then Viveport is replying, yes, my master. Oh, that's interesting. So maybe this has nothing to do with Oculus Connect 5. This could potentially be what we like to call in the business as counter programming. This is counter programming. If Viveport comes out and says, we've got a special deal with Secrets of the Empire VR, a special home version is coming to Viveport exclusively, that's going to piss so many people off if that is actually the case. But yeah, at first, when I first saw that it was going to be announced tomorrow, I just immediately assumed, oh, this is going to be an announcement at Oculus Connect 5. But now that I'm seeing that Viveport tweet there, kind of doubt that. Let's see if people are talking in chat about the Star Wars. Yeah, Paradise Decay is saying Star Wars OC5, the Void experience is at OC5 this year. Okay, I wonder why Viveport is talking about that. You know, it kind of makes it seem like maybe it would be on Viveport. But if it is a big Oculus Connect 5 thing, that would be super cool. So we do have that to look forward to tomorrow. Conrad Lawrence wants TIE Fighter VR. Eric Dirks is checking in from Iceland. What is up? I got to visit Iceland some point. Kevin Marr says, yeah, Star Wars game. Holy shit. We've been waiting a long time. We really have been waiting a long time for a legit Star Wars game. I don't know that I believe this is a legit Star Wars game. I kind of feel like it is an experience, you know, because that's what we've been getting. I mean, it says right here, VR-related Darth Vader game or experience to be announced tomorrow. And then, of course, all we have is wireless adapter after wireless adapter threads. They continue. Subject 264 is delayed to a future date. We did hear about that. I do have my key to Space Junkies beta, so I will be getting into that later this week. Vive wireless adapters, Creed has been released. Vive wireless adapter, Vive wireless adapter, Vive wireless adapter. We have all kinds of people talking about using different batteries. Some people are pissed off with Amazon. You can see right here, I'm done with Amazon. You know, people are pissed off because they're not getting their adapters shipped on time. Rest in peace to my Amazon pre-order. And a lot of people are saying, forget Amazon. Microsoft is shipping these things within 2 hours from the Microsoft store. Somebody said something about that. So it is all wireless adapter all the time. Do we have anybody in chat? Has anybody in chat received the Vive wireless adapter? Is anybody in chat experiencing wireless on their Vive? That would be super interesting. I'm a bit jealous. I really am jealous because I got this big ass play area here. If I still had a Vive, I would be incredibly tempted to grab that adapter, and I probably would grab that adapter if I still owned a Vive. I absolutely would. But I don't know if we have anybody in chat that has the Vive wireless adapter. And we have some people comparing it back and forth with the TPCast. It does appear that it is better in most ways to the TPCast. it does seem like it is better than the TPCast in most ways. We do have a number of TPCast owners that have weighed in with that. In fact, this guy has a really good breakdown. Let me go ahead and switch over to this web browser window, because this guy here, this is Whatever Greg, a TPCast user's general impressions of the HTC wireless adapter. He has a really good breakdown here. You can check this out. You can read this. Really, really good breakdown. Pretty much covers everything. The too long, didn't read version of it goes like this. The HTC wireless adapter performed at least as well, and so far, I believe, better than the TPCast. You can use a larger battery, see below for a link. No image or audio loss so far. It's a bit clunky to put on the Vive, but not the worst. And you know, he has an entire breakdown here. And he talked about how when he first got this battery, it wasn't charged enough. He tried using another battery that he happened to have, and it worked great. And so he has this other battery that he's recommending that he believes will last about 5 hours. And he does say the Anchor battery that comes with the TPCast will not work. It will not work. So far, I haven't seen my biggest gripe about the TPCast, which is total loss of video and audio during loading screens or areas with very little light. That was his single biggest complaint about the TPCast, and he has not noticed that problem with the Vive wireless adapter. So it does look very promising. If you have an HTC Vive, you might want to get your hands on that Vive wireless adapter if you can get it before it gets sold out. It is sold out a lot of places. So bouncing over here to the Oculus subreddit, just seeing if there's any kind of big things that are going on here on the Oculus subreddit. Here's a rumor: Dirt Rally 2 potentially can be revealed tomorrow. Could this be something that is revealed at Oculus Connect 5? Let me click on this real quick. This is on Twitter, and it says 9/26/2018, not afraid. And that looks like a teaser from Codemasters for a new Dirt Rally game. And so it might be shown off. Maybe this is VR from the ground up. Maybe it is a Dirt Rally game designed more for VR, and maybe it will be introduced at Oculus Connect 5. That would be pretty freaking cool. So that is a possibility. And then here's something that we really haven't thought about, and this is a real topic here. The Oculus Santa Cruz could potentially be a mixed reality headset. What about that, folks? What about that? One of the things that I forgot about, somebody actually brought this up. I believe it was a comment to the video, to the archived episodes. Somebody said, hey, what about Oculus and AR? Remember that? I was talking about AR, and I've said it before. I do believe that Mark Zuckerberg is a big believer in this entire future. I believe Mark Zuckerberg feels the same way about our AR VR future as I do, which is that AR and VR is going to dominate everything. And Facebook wants to be involved in every part of that. They don't want to let Magic Leap and Microsoft run away with the AR golden goose and just completely focus on VR 100%. Oculus has an entire AR team that is there. And so could the Santa Cruz pull double duty? Could it be this standalone VR headset that is really awesome, but what if it also has pass-through cameras, full stereoscopic pass-through, and a lot of AR capabilities as well? Why not? You know, that would be super cool. So, I mean, I don't know. It might be super cool. It might also be kind of horrible. It could go either way. So I'm going to see what people are talking about here in chat. Chris Gold says, you could microwave an egg on your head and eat it when you come out of VR. He's talking about his concerns with the wireless and how hot it gets and those kinds of things. Tom Lloyd says, I'm lame when it comes to connecting through other methods. I am everyday gamer. I'm doing the cantilever from the ceiling for now for my Rift and PSVR. I will wait for standalone wireless solution in next gen VR. You know, that's something I've thought about. The dog pulley thing and going from from up there like that. I've thought about doing that. Chris Gold says, who needs wireless? I just get my wife to stand on a chair and hold the wire. That's a great idea. IPCSK, nobody worrying about frying their brains with these wireless adapters? Just a question. You know, IPCSK, you bring up an interesting point, and this is something that, oh man, I forget his name, but he was telling me about this in relationship to Verizon and the whole 5G thing that is going on here in Sacramento. He was like, beware of the cancers, Anthony, to cancers, because of 5G and wireless. And I kind of do believe there are so many weird wireless signals that are traveling through our airwaves right now. So many wireless things, and they do get approved by the FCC, and supposedly it's tested, and they run tests, and they check the mice to see if their brains are being affected. But I truly believe that one of the things that we have seen is if you look back at 200 years ago and the things that they were doing in the healthcare industry 200 years ago to make people get better, they were literally killing them. They were literally killing people because they were ignorant. They just didn't know what they were doing, and they didn't have the benefit of knowing extra things. And so I believe 200 years from now, we're going to look back on this time and think, oh my God, how ridiculously stupid were people to have all these 5G signals running everywhere. It was literally killing them, but they had no idea that it was going on. I can definitely imagine scenarios like that happening. And so if you put wireless transmitter right above your brain, you know, it's right there above your brain. The receiver is right above your brain there, getting those signals in, some of it also seeping right through your skull, right into your brain. Yeah, mercury was a freaking medicine. Dude, I have fillings in my teeth that were done in like the 70s or 80s or whenever it was done, and there's like all kinds of like metallic things. Like they thought, oh, none of that is going to leak into your bloodstream. There's no chance. We're putting this in your teeth to protect your teeth, but there's no chance that this mercury is going to leak into your freaking bloodstream. But yeah, there's all kinds of things that could possibly go on. Here's my take. Here's my take on this. Terry Blanchard says, if you're worried about radiation, just wear silver tinfoil under Vive Wireless to reflect signals away. My take is this. You can't worry about any of this stuff, ladies and gentlemen. Don't worry about any of this stuff. Remember that song, Don't Worry, Be Happy? That's basically the attitude that you got to take, because literally everything is killing us at all times. My mom is really into this type of stuff. She's really into this fear-mongering stuff. And she'll get the newspaper, and you'll look in the newspaper and you'll be like, oh, this is going to kill you. Oh, that is going to kill you. This is going to kill you. If you drink too much coffee, you're going to die. If you drink a lot of coffee, you're going to live forever. You know, there's so many different stories out of there. You just got to let it all go. Let it all go. Be happy. Live your life. Think positive, happy thoughts. Don't think fearful thoughts. When you have a fearful thought, switch it up to something else, because there's literally millions of things that are going to kill us at all times. And if you go through life thinking about every little thing that's going to kill you, you're probably going to die pretty early, because your thoughts are going to be focused on all these things, and you're going to create problems. So yeah, everyone is going to die. Crunchy has it right there. Everyone is going to die. Lethal Weasel VR. Worry and stress are the biggest killers of all. And Conrad Lawrence says, don't tell lies about coffee. Coffee is good. Coffee is wonderful. I drink coffee 2 different times a day. It is a beautiful thing. I love coffee. It's never going away as far as I'm concerned. Greg's VR says there's a classic image of cough medicine from the 1920s where it contained cocaine and chloroform. Yeah, that's an example of that. But yeah, let the fearful thoughts go away. Let the fearful thoughts go away. Be happy. Enjoy yourself, and don't worry about how you're going to die. Think about how you're going to live. Think about how we're going to live forever. I mean, the singularity, right? We're going to upload our consciousness and all that. So think about those kind of happy thoughts about our robot overlords. letting us live forever. We can think happy thoughts like that. Okay, so where was I? We were on the Oculus Rift subreddit looking at some last-minute news stories. And, you know, there is this little news story here. I'm going to switch back over to the Oculus subreddit here. Amazon has launched this Sumerian VR AR challenge with over $100,000 in prizes. I did see that. And, you know, some other stuff as well. Subject 264 has been delayed. Yeah, we heard about that. Serious Duke 3D. I cannot talk today. I'm having a very difficult time talking. Okay, let's check PSVR subreddit real quick before we bounce out of here. The show is almost coming to an end. Sony says longer and deeper PSVR games are coming. Yeah, let's hold it with the jokes, folks. Longer and deeper. Big time PSVR games are coming. So basically what he's saying is the meaty, in-depth games that you crave, they are coming. Patience is a virtue. These meaty games are coming. A friendly announcement regarding 2MD VR football from the folks at Truant Pixel. Let me check this out because I am a fan. I am a fan of 2MD VR football. Are they having some kind of update? This looks like on the VR grid. Let's see here. Really awesome to see an update like this, especially it being free. Yeah, so it looks like they're having a little update. A 2-player mode. Ah, that's super awesome. So just when you thought 2MD VR football, oh, look at that. It looks almost like old school Madden from way back in the days. That looks pretty cool. Social screen defense. Interesting. So this is going to be a cool little update. I'll have to look into that later, but I am a fan of 2MD VR football, so kind of excited about that. And Astrobot, remember, Astrobot coming next week. Creed PvP is quite terrible. Buyer beware if you want it for PvP. Well, this is kind of what I kind of was thinking, is that when I think about Creed and PvP, I think about button mashing except with your arms. Button mashing with your arms. Just swing wildly and it just becomes insane, I would think, at a certain point is how I would think it would go. So let's go ahead. We'll go back over to chat. What are people talking about? Because I'm about to bounce out of here. Bed for You 2 and GameCats D says, I ran my cords around the bed and couch and ran it under the middle of the couch. He's talking about instead of doing wireless, running long cords. Chris Gould is at Greg's VR. He says, I drank gallons of that stuff when I was in art school. And Crunchy says they used to sell morphine in the Sears catalogs. And Ace Batsu says, then the universe dies too. So he's saying, yeah, you can have the singularity. You can transfer your conscience into a robot, but guess what? The universe itself is going to freaking die. So you can't escape it. Paradise Decay is saying, Anthony will be on YouTube forever. The artificial intelligence version of me will be on YouTube forever. What if YouTube had it in their contract where, because who owns YouTube? Google. Google owns YouTube. Imagine that their deep learning capabilities can take every video that you've ever done and analyze it 1,000,000 times and create a digital version of you that keeps repeating the same points and the same topics and all the same little wordplay that you normally do. So Paradise, you're going to be on forever. I'm going to be on forever. YouTube owns us forever. PewDiePie forever, ladies and gentlemen. Conrad Lawrence says, you need water. Go ahead. We'll wait. Yeah, I do need water. I definitely need water, but I'm going to go ahead and bounce out of here because it has been over an hour. Ace Batsu says, look, just enjoy life as much as you can. That's what it's all about. That's what it's all about. And Shirzad Khan City says, I need to stock up on some Mountain Dew. The Rex Terra talks about Black Mirror. Absolutely. Black Mirror is an awesome show, wonderful show. One of the reasons I like Transference so much, it kind of reminds me almost of a Black Mirror episode. And Lethal Weasel VR says Anthony Headroom. Yeah, how freaking crazy would that be? And how scary would that be? All right, folks. Well, I will go ahead and bounce out of here now. We've been going for a little while. Now, remember, tomorrow's show, I'm going to do tomorrow's show at 2 p.m. Pacific time. So we do have a late start tomorrow. 2 p.m. Pacific time tomorrow. That way I can soak up all the information that is coming out of Oculus Connect 5, and then we could do the show at 2 p.m. I believe on Thursday, probably normal time, 11 a.m. But tomorrow, 2 p.m. Pacific. So anyway, guys, make sure you bounce over to the website, check that out. Make sure you subscribe to the channel, like the show. I have been putting timestamps, and has anybody been enjoying my timestamps? Like the names I put on the timestamps, kind of funny, I think. And, you know, I'm enjoying doing these timestamps and lining it up perfectly to some phrase that I'm about to say. But you might notice on some of these timestamps, you click on them, and I basically talk about something for 40 seconds and then move on to something else. So I could literally have like 100 timestamps. Shirzad Khan says, what time is Oculus Connect 5? I saw something about 10 a.m. Pacific. I don't know if it technically is starting right then at 10 a.m. Pacific, or if it's going to be like 10:30 or something like that. But our show, 2 p.m. Pacific. 2 p.m. Pacific. That is when our show will be tomorrow. See you guys then. Take it easy. Later.